For those of you who have not had the chance to work with us yet, welcome. We're joined today by Ms. Grant's attorney, Ann Callis. She's going to give an overview of the case and where it currently stands, make some brief remarks, and then we're going to open it up for questions for people to answer. Just wanted to go over some ground rules real fast at the top. This is an on-the-record call, so folks may record it and use it for their distribution. When we turn it over for the Q&A portion of the call, we'd like folks to introduce their name and their publication before they ask their question. We're asking everybody to please stick with one question per person, as there are a lot of interested people on here. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ann.
Thanks, Kendra. Before we dive into Janel's case, I'd like to share a little bit about who Janel is. Janel Grant is a survivor of incomprehensible abuse, sexual assault, and human trafficking at the hands of Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE. It takes immense strength to speak out against Goliath, and she has courageously come forward, not just to address her own suffering, but also to act for those who are afraid to speak out. She is also a human being. She is smart, kind, and compassionate. But because of the extreme cruelty, degradation, exploitation, and violence she was subjected to on a near daily basis for more than 2 years, she now suffers from severe post-traumatic stress disorder, suicidal ideation, and the inability to leave her home for weeks at a time. Janel's story is an important one, and we hope Netflix docuseries does it justice. Her experience is an integral to an accurate and full retelling of the story of the WWE and Mr. McMahon. While Janel didn't participate in the Netflix docuseries, we hope it shines a light on the abhorrent actions of McMahon, frequently on WWE property, and it portrays the realities of his abusive and exploitative behavior. Many of the stories in the last few months have not portrayed her in the way she deserves to be portrayed, as a survivor of human trafficking and sexual abuse. To that end, we've recently brought on additional firepower through Kendra and her team at SKDK to help support and raise awareness of Janel's case. Kendra has worked with many survivors, including those abused by Weinstein, Epstein, the Washington Commanders, and Marilyn Manson, among others. We are thrilled to have her team on board. Through our lawsuit, we seek to hold all wrongful parties accountable: McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and the WWE, and expedite legal proceedings as quickly as possible. All right, with that, questions.
We will turn it over to some questions. Again, if you have a question, please feel free to either share it in the chat, or we will call on you individually once you raise your hand with your name and your publication.
Brandon Thurston, I'm going to unmute you now.
Brandon, at the time, we did anticipate other victims coming forward. We were, of course, receiving an influx of calls. Right now, with the status of what is going on with the non-public investigation, criminal investigation, we have not spoken to any current victims of Vince McMahon's sexual abuse at the WWE.
But I just want to add, I think this does speak to the point that Janel would like the proceedings to move as quickly as possible, so that all of these things can come to light.
And, you know, we do have every reason to believe that Janel was not the only woman who was subject to McMahon's abuse. The media has reported that McMahon agreed to pay out over $12 million to 4 women, all formerly affiliated with the WWE in the last 16 years to, quote, suppress allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity. This is a clear pattern of predatory behavior.
Great. Next question.
Thank you. Moving along. Brian, I'm going to unmute you.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much again for your time. This is Brian Zone with PW Torch. I just wanted to ask specifically, you did mention the Vince McMahon documentary does drop next week. Were you guys given an opportunity to view the documentary ahead of time, and do you feel like the documentary will provide a fair compliment to Janel Grant?
Brian, we have not seen the documentary. Janel deserves the opportunity to tell her full story, not be a part of someone else's. She will get her day in court, and McMahon will be held accountable. As we said, in fact, she would like to expedite all proceedings as quickly as possible. And Janel has the right to tell her story in her own way at the right time.
Thank you. Next question.
Chris from The Athletic, I'm going to unmute you now.
Yeah, Chris Vanini from The Athletic. Just to, I guess, follow up on the specifics of that, was Janel asked to be a part of this documentary or not?
She does deserve to tell, given the opportunity to tell her full story, again, not to be a part of someone else's.
Okay, and the federal investigation that has kind of put this at a pause for the moment, you mentioned you want that to continue, you want that to expedite as quickly as possible. In the meantime, is anything moving or happening with the lawsuit itself that you have filed?
Well, we filed a state court action against the Dr. Kolker. That was in Connecticut State Court. It is a pre-suit discovery action because it was, as it says in our pleading, it's called a bill of discovery. And upon our information and belief, Vince McMahon sent Janel to Dr. Kolker. She was treated there, and I say treated with quotes. So right now we are trying to get all of the communications between Vince McMahon and this Dr. Kolker. You can see that pleading in state court. But Janel was being treated with IVs. She didn't know what